صباح الخير للجميع. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today session or webinar. We welcome Mr. Gideon. We welcome Asma. We welcome all. Today we will continue in part 2, webinar 6, skills for understanding the world of work, part 2. We hope that you read the lecture notes for today's session that Mr. Gideon will explain to us in details. It's about the concept of occupational classification, the ISCO standard classification of international occupation, and the relevance of the ISCO to career guidance. So we have at the end to be oriented to the skills of compiling career information to create a career dictionary using the ISCO concept. Okay, so please, Mr. Gideon, the floor is yours. You may start, but before you start, please, if you feel you want to ask any question, as we say every day, if you want to know anything, you may ask. Okay, please don't be shy and ask us if you want anything. Please, Mr. Gideon, you may start.
Thank you, George, and greetings to everyone in the meeting today and those of you who are in the webinar. So we are moving into the second part of our world of work discussion. And today I hope we will be able to look at how can you create a really interesting and reliable career dictionary for the students and young people of your country. Yeah, so let me bring my PowerPoint on. And yeah. Right. So as usual, I will go back to what we did yesterday. Yeah. Okay. I'll go back to what we did yesterday, the self-learning exercises that we had set for you yesterday, and take you through some of the answers. Yeah. Again, please stop me at any time. Don't feel that you're interrupting me. This is for you. So both George and I are here to give our best to you. And at any time, please feel free to stop and ask questions. Maybe about something I said, maybe something George lectured to you earlier on. So please be open and take the best that we can give to you. Right? Okay. Right. Our review of the assignment. So one of the concepts that I was trying to get across to you is that there is a difference in world of work information and labor market information. World of work information and labor market information. And I had set an assignment for you to make that distinction between world of work and LMI, labor market information. So let me take you through that. Learning about career as a form of work. Learning about career as a form of work. Is that world of work side or is it the labor market side? Yeah, it's the world of work side. Yeah, we are wanting to help our clients learn about different kinds of careers, doctor, engineer, nanotechnologist, whatever. If we were in an exercise with them on how many jobs are available in Bahrain for nanotechnologists, then it would be on the labor market side. Yeah, and that's a very variable, changing, dynamic information. Yeah, we are focusing on the world of work in our sessions. Second point, learning about job availability. Yeah, how many jobs are available in nursing or in teaching or in computer science? Any responses from anybody in the group? Is this world of work or labor market? Any responses, anybody? Learning about job availability. Yeah. This would be on the LMI, the labor market side. Yeah, how many jobs are there, and are the number of jobs increasing, or is it decreasing, or are there very few jobs in this field? This is the LMI side. Job searching skills. I finished my studies. I'm in the final year of my college education, I've come close to my baccalaureate, whatever it is in your country. Yeah, I'm searching for a job. So for me, it is not just knowledge about doctor and engineer. It is where can I get the job? So that would be on the labor market side. Yeah. Learning about the educational structure of a country, this point. Learning about the educational structure of a country. This would be for a younger person who is just finishing school maybe and deciding which side should I go, how long is it the study is going to be. Yeah, that would be on the world of work side. Learning about the tasks of a career. Yesterday, we looked at many different kinds of careers. Each career has its own tasks. And I told you the story about the young girl who decided to be a doctor without knowing the tasks of being a doctor. And when she found out about it, she said, no, this is not for me. Yeah, so this would be on the world of work side. Now, information is relatively fixed and changes rarely. That would be the world of work side. So, for example, if you take a lawyer, the lawyer has been similar tasks, very minor changes in his or her tasks for many years. Job as a lawyer, that changes. In this city, there are more jobs. In this city, there are much less jobs. That would be on the market side. Preparing to enter the job market. How do I find a job? How do I present my CV? How do I apply for a job? This would be on the LMI side. And as I said earlier, this information, labor market information, changes. And again, I'd like to underline, if as a country you're planning to set up an LMIS, labor market information system, it is at the least, it is a daily updating that we need to do. Yeah? Or the software should be such that it's live, it's dynamic. The moment a job is taken, it should disappear from the LMI screen. The moment a job is added, then it should appear. Otherwise, it becomes static and students get very disillusioned with it. Yeah. Then we had another exercise, which is about career learning. Remember, I was saying yesterday that one of our targets is to give young people, career choosers, 5 questions based on which they can learn about a career before they make a commitment. Yeah, so some questions about that. Which of the following is a career name? Is it bachelor's degree in law? Is it the name of a university, Beirut Arab University? Yeah, the career name is lawyer. This is the career name. Yeah. Second one, what is a career definition? Is the career definition about eligibility, future scope, jobs related to a career? Career definition provides summary information about a career. So if I read that definition, I should get an idea, okay, this is who a commercial artist is. Yeah. Which of the following would be a career task for an accountant? Which of these would be a career task for an accountant? Selling goods, tracing the origin and evolution of humanity, advising clients on legal and technical matters. It is preparing and reporting on profit forecasts and budgets. This is what a financial person would do, right? Moving on to the fourth question. Which of the following best describes the concept of qualifications? Remember, we said yesterday that if you're pursuing a career, then qualification goes hand in hand with that. Just this morning, before this session, I was talking to a girl, or a young girl, 21 years old, and she's telling her parents, I don't need to have any qualifications. I am fantastic with my fashion designing. I have designed for my friend's wedding, and all my friends come to me to design their dresses. I don't need to be having a qualification. I don't need a degree or a certificate. So, yes, probably not. Yes, but if she is going to get promotions, if she is going to grow in her profession, if she's going to get a job in a good company, she needs to face an exam that tests her knowledge and skills and get a certificate. Yeah? Only then she comes into the formal job market. Otherwise, she's in the informal job market, and it's very unlikely that she will go and become somebody who is recognized. Helping a student learn about career path. This is another very crucial thing. Many students do not know what is the career path in your country. I finish high school at this point something else happens, I have to do this, the whole pathway till you finish your studies. Yeah? So helping a student become familiar with the milestones he or she has to cross in order to enter and progress in a career. Yeah? I have had so many examples where they enter into a course and then they realize that in order to get a license, it's nearly 8 years. And they are not wanting to study for so long. But it's too late, they've jumped into a profession. Yeah. So becoming familiar with the milestones of career development is one of our career learning exercises. Then the other side, we said, is educational information. Yeah. Some of our students, particularly older students who are at the college level, are ready to make a career choice. Right? I am going to work in the Arab National Bank, job related. Some of our students are lower down and they're still searching for what should I study. So they both go hand in hand. Right? So what is meant by career information? In career information, this is the formula, simple formula. We need to have career name, definition, tasks, potential required, career path. This is the minimum information that we should have. Yesterday, I showed you those cards and other things which we need to collate, and it's very country specific. Yes, if you're developing something for Oman or Bahrain or Saudi Arabia, it's your country, and these names and these informations are specific to your country. Yeah. And on the other hand, what is meant by educational information? Here, what do we need to communicate to our students? That there are qualifications. What do qualifications mean? What are the levels and types of qualifications? One of our participants from Saudi Arabia yesterday explained to us how it works in Saudi Arabia. There is a baccalaureate. There is vocational training. There is university training. Yeah. So what are the types of qualifications available in your country? Yeah. The other information, educational information, is eligibility. If you're going in a certain direction, then you should be studying certain subjects at this level. If you don't have that subject, then stepping into the next higher step may not be possible. Yeah? So children need to know this. Recognition, who recognizes that qualification? Is it only some private small institution that gives it? Nobody recognizes it. Is it recognized in the country? Ideally, it should be recognized wherever you go. It should be a global recognition. Yeah. So these were some of the exercises that we had yesterday. Why is it important to help students become acquainted with career and educational interest? Why is this important? Yeah, and some of the points is it broadens their horizons. They can see, oh, it's not just medicine and engineering. I have so many possibilities in front of me. So broadening their horizons when we give them this information. Yeah. Another very crucial point is students can check their opinion of careers against facts. Yeah. Opinions often influence students' decision-making very strongly. In their opinion, it may be chartered accountant is not a good profession. But if you're able to give them the correct information, if you're able to give them facts about chartered accountant or auto mechanic or whatever, then they can say, oh, this is my opinion, but this is not so correct, my opinion. This is the fact. That's why giving them information is important. Career beliefs, something that we'll come to in our last session. These ideas about career. Girls cannot do this. Boys cannot do this. This is too low for me. This is too high for me. Yeah, when you give information, sound, correct information, then these sort of thinking patterns can be challenged. They can become more realistic. It might be that they are, young students. When you ask them what you want to become, Typically, in many classrooms, I get the answer, I want to become the managing director. Sure, we also want you to become the managing director. But what is the first step? You don't become a managing director when you're 15 years of age, unless it's your own company and you're so brilliant. You need to work at it step by step by step. What are those steps? Is what your career information and education information can give. Make informed decisions. So often, decisions are made based upon beliefs, based upon opinions. Yeah. Uh, it could be even with parents. So many times I have parents who tell me, no, this is not suitable for a girl. This is not suitable for my son because he's not good in mathematics. Yeah, it may be that that profession that doesn't require so much of that. Yeah? So making informed decisions, taking a stage and stepwise approach to career development. We will be doing an exercise later on. Career development happens in steps and stages. Okay? Even if it's a family-owned business and you're going to, and your client is going to inherit that business, still it's a step by step approach. And what are those steps? What is the first step? Passing the exam. What is the second step? Getting a apprenticeship. What is the third step? Breaking it up like this helps decision making. Developing a long-term plan. Yeah, it could be that there is a career dream. I want to become a physicist, let us say. Yeah, but the family circumstances may be such that long-term study they cannot afford today because they are a family that is not financially very strong. But many of our families are like so. An advice that we can give is here is the pathway to become a physicist, the long pathway, you need to become a PhD, but you can start earning by doing a short diploma, you can start earning and get a part-time job and have your long-term plan going along side by side. Yeah. So helping them make these long-term plans. Yeah. So these are some of the reasons why it's important for us to give students information about career and about education. Yeah. Milestones. This again, I've repeated it a number of times. If you can develop this for your country, it's going to be very helpful. Yeah. The milestones. What is the first step? Second step. Why is it important? The student then can locate himself. The student will be able to see that this is my career. I'm not so close to it as yet. I'm here. I need to move through these steps in order to touch the career. So where am I today? Where am I going to go? Student can see the path before. Remember that path I showed you yesterday of a particular country. And so the student will be able to see, okay, I need to do another 2 years before I get to a job status. Yeah, or I need to do these qualifications, these exams. Yeah? Student can make long-term educational plans, right? And education. So, and therefore, because it's so important, the assignment I had set for you, something that you can do in the future is develop an educational milestones chart for your country. Develop an educational milestones worksheet. I gave you an example from Sri Lanka yesterday. It's there in your notes. You can copy that and use that as an example to make a worksheet which matches this chart that you've made. You can make a quiz on educational milestones specific to your country. Yeah. These are the worksheets and methods that you can use to communicate the educational milestones message to them. All right. Okay, now let's come into today's work, which is the second part of understanding the world of work. These are our four themes. We finished this part, and yesterday we did half of the world of work. Today, let's go on to looking at how can you create tools, how can you create learning and teaching materials that are relevant to your country. Yeah. Okay. So the points for us to keep in mind is if you complete this module, you will be oriented to the skills of compiling career information to create a career dictionary. There's career information all around us. The internet is just bursting with career information. Yeah? Now, when a young person enters into the internet or enters into a book of, he or she will be completely confused. we need to make that into a career guidance tool. That's what I hope we'll be able to do. And Mr. George pointed it out. We're going to use the ILO classification to try and develop this tool. Yeah. Okay. Now, this concept is important for us to start. When we are developing a career information tool like a dictionary or those cards which I showed you yesterday, we need a framework for simultaneous analysis. What do I mean by this? Yeah. An important aspect of career guidance is to make career information available so that students can improve their knowledge of the world of work. Yeah. We know that already. There are hundreds of occupations. Yeah. Learning about all of them before making a choice may not be necessary and may not be possible. There are 250 careers. Our task and the student's task also is not to learn about all 250 careers. That's where the dictionary comes into play. Yeah. It's very helpful when we classify occupations into families. Yeah. Classify. So there is accountant, there is architect, there is medicine, there is lawyer, there is nanotechnologist, and there is auto mechanic. All of them are there. If a student is to be able to engage with this information, we should put them into the families that they belong to. Yeah. That is what a career dictionary is. Now, when I say simultaneous, a framework for simultaneous analysis, we need a framework or a theory which helps us to analyze two sets of information, two sets of data. What are those two sets? Information about the person. You remember in our very first session with me, we learned about how can I find out about myself. Yeah? What are my talents? What are my abilities? So that's one data. The other side is information about the world of work. Right? Now, just imagine, supposing this activity, understanding myself, at the end of this activity, the student discovers through your help and through the tools that you use, the student discovers that she has a high linguistic and analytical potential, supposing. Then what is the next step? If she has a high linguistic potential, on this side, we need to have a list of linguistic careers. Isn't it? Otherwise, we will just tell them that, oh yeah, you're fantastic, you're great with linguistic, you're great with analysis, bye-bye, good night. Yeah, the career guidance is not even half finished. You have a high linguistic ability, you're good with language. Now let's look at linguistic type of careers. Yeah? So you need the same framework for both of these. Supposing you use a framework here, a theoretical framework here, which tells the student that you have a realistic personality. And on this side, in your dictionary, supposing you have a list of careers which are linguistic, analytical, spatial, not connected with this analysis, then your career guidance is not going to work. Yeah? Let me take you further into this idea. A career counseling system that is practically relevant should be capable of offering a common framework for categorizing careers into families, and at the same time, understanding the individual suitability for those career families. So it's the person and the world of work. Our dictionary should match both. Our dictionary should have a way of understanding the same theory should be underlying the method of assessment as well as the classification of occupations. All right. Okay. Now, before I go further, let me stop here and check whether you are understanding what I'm saying. Any questions at this point? Any doubts, any clarifications? Okay, please feel free. Any questions, you're welcome to ask in any language that you want. Somehow I will understand. We have good friends who can translate for me. Okay, let me go on. And again, you're welcome to stop at any time. Yeah. So where are we going now? We are going into occupational classification. Yeah. If you're developing a system for your country, we need occupations of your country to be put into families. Why? Why should we classify? Why can't we just give them a list of saying, nanotechnologist and development specialist and allied health and physiotherapy. We can just give them this list. Why should we put them into families? Yeah. Occupational classification are a schema, are a pattern for categorizing career and career data. Yeah. They bring order into the way careers are listed. That means all the linguistic careers are in one page. All the analytical careers are in another page. All the mechanical ones are in another page. Right? So, if you have in your counseling found along with your client that he has a high mechanical aptitude, a high mechanical potential, then you turn to the mechanical aptitude page and there would be 25 to 30 careers there. Or else you have to talk to that student about a whole lot of careers which are not relevant to him or to her. Yeah. They provide a standard description. Remember, we are wanting them to understand what is a career. So in a dictionary, where there is classification, you can have a definition and you can have the tasks of that career. So a standardized classification system, okay, allows us, this is another important point. Yeah. Now, supposing we take the example of let's say we take the example of Saudi Arabia, right? And let's say somebody is working in Riyadh and they talk to the students about different careers, etc. Let's say somebody else is talking to students doing career guidance in Jeddah, in the same country, right? Now, if the counselor in Riyadh is classifying careers in one way and the counselor in Jeddah is doing it in a different way, then we can't transmit career information in a uniform way to all the students in Saudi Arabia. When we have a classification, we can say, here it is for Riyadh, here it is for Jeddah, and here it is for Mecca and all the other countries, all the other cities in that country. So this is standard, right? There are many methods of classification. How do we make these families? Yeah, there are two methods I want to share with you, and then I'd like to go to the ILO methodology. Yeah, one is called the qualitative hierarchical approach. It's a big word, but I hope when I explain it to you, you'll understand it better. This is one way of making career families, qualitative hierarchical. So what happens here? You have experts, yeah, experts in occupations or job information. So experts like Mr. George or me or others who know about what is a career and what is its characteristics. So you have these experts. Yeah. Now these experts sit down together and they make a framework. They look at Saudi Arabia or Bahrain or Oman and they say, okay, these are the type of careers that are there in this country. They create a structure, broad one, and they say, okay, one of the careers that's there in this country is careers related to science careers, broad structure. Then they will say, within the science careers, from what we can see, there are life science type of careers, there are physics type of careers, there are chemistry type of careers. Then they will go to the next level and say, under the life science careers, there is agriculture, there is veterinary science, there is medicine, there is under the chemistry type of subjects, the careers, there is pharmaceuticals, there is perfume development, perfume manufacture. Like this, a group of experts sit together from their mind and from their knowledge, they make a structure for that country. Yeah. Such a classification is based on the characteristics of an occupational area, such as work function, skill level, job title, and so on. This is one way of doing it. So, if the expert is wrong, then your classification can be wrong. Yeah. Second way is the statistical approach. When we hear what happens, it's not the expert, it is a mathematical statistical process. Statistical techniques such as a cluster analysis or factor analysis are used to make the classification. Yeah. So here is an example. Yeah. Now, in this slide, you can see some words are in red and some words are in black. Yeah. Now, this is statistically, the statistician will be able to show that auditing, budgets, financial statements, profit forecasts, tax, financial investigations are all one type. That's one family. And the statistical method for this is called cluster analysis or factor analysis. Yeah? Whereas legal documents, cases for court, representing clients in court, legal advice, disputes, you can see this is another set, different career. So this is a statistical way of finding groups. Yeah? Statistical analysis would show that items that are these italicized items make one cluster while the other makes a different cluster. So the red ones here are the financial careers. The black ones here are the legal careers. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. Yeah. So both have their limitations. The qualitative one, the experts may not know the country properly. There can be a mistake. Statistics, it's a mathematical approach. There can be mistakes over there. So the ideal is what the ILO uses. The ideal is the mixed approach where they combine qualitative and quantitative methodologies. Yeah. So here, experts design the structure, experts make the structure, and then the statisticians test that structure, followed by a statistical analysis. I'll give you an example just. Yeah. Now, you have another tool which many countries have called the National Occupational Classification System. Most countries will have an NCO, a National Classification of Occupations. Yeah. Usually this comes to that country from the ILO. So ILO helps that country to make a classification of occupations for that country. Yeah. Many countries develop their own occupational classification systems. This may be based on a broader global system or developed specifically for the country. Yeah. And these systems are specific to the labor market realities of that country. So now, for example, an NCO may not have careers in that list for which there is no labor market presence. Yeah, 10 years ago, I worked in the Maldives, small, tiny little country. And then when we went through using labor market information, we went through. There were only about 12 careers possible in the Maldives. Tourism, all the related things to tourism, fishing was another one, ocean related. So like this, very small list. Okay, so we had about 25 cards in the career guidance program, and that is the Maldivian National Occupational Classification System. Yeah, it was already there, and I used that 10 years ago. Now they are planning to review it and renew it, and so maybe the number of occupations have increased. Yeah, and this is where we come to the International Standard Classification of Occupations, the ISCO. Yeah, now this is ISCO stands for International Standard Classification of Occupations. So the International Labour Organization, obviously, it is the International Labour Organization, which would be the world expert on occupations, isn't it? ILO is about occupations. So what the ILO has done, based upon the methods that I explained to you just now, the qualitative, quantitative, all of these things, they, at regular intervals, about 10, 15 years at a time, they publish the ISCO. Okay. Now, the most reliable, comprehensive, and globally relevant system of occupations is the ISCO. Right? Because this is from an international viewpoint. And there are the world's best experts are working on listing different human occupations. And there's a long, huge list. Yeah. So the ISCO is a classification structure for organizing information about labor and jobs. Right. So it's part of the international family of economic and social classifications of the United Nations. So we're all part of the ILO system. And therefore, I use the ILO system quite a lot, not only because it's part of the United Nations, but because it's the most reliable system. And I'll explain that to you just now. The latest version is called the ISCO 08. Yeah, it's the fourth version, ISCO 08, published in 2008. Before that, it was ISCO 58, ISCO 68, ISCO 88, and this one is ISCO 2008. Yeah, that's the one that we are using. And so ISCO 8, there's a revision of ISCO 8, which is expected to be released very soon over these next 2-3 years. Yeah. This is the International Standard Classification of Occupations. You can see this is the book. It's open access. You can go to this link, yes, and download it for yourself, or you can write to the International Labour Organization or go to your local ILO office, and they will give you this book. It's a fat, big book. All human occupations are in this book. It might be priest, it might be a boatman, it might be anybody, but that is all the occupations are there. So here is a quotation about the ISCO. The ISCO is a tool for organizing jobs into a clearly defined set of groups according to the tasks and duties undertaken in that job. So how has it been done? You remember I showed you that statistical way of doing it. Tasks have been taken, duties have been taken and clustered together. It is intended for use in statistical applications and in a variety of client-oriented applications, including matching of job seekers. This is where ISCO becomes very, very relevant for us. Yeah, how we want children to find the best job. We want to match. So you need a list to match, isn't it? So you can make a list sitting. I can make a list, or we can turn to a master list like this one and pull out for our country. Yeah. Matching for job seekers with job vacancies, the management of short-term or long-term migration of workers between countries, and vocational training programs and guidance. Yeah. So that's what the ISCO is about. And the ISCO is available in many, many languages. There is an Arabic translation of the ISCO. I have given you the link in your lecture notes. If you click on that link, you see the Arabic translation. So Arabic translation of ISCO 08 was undertaken by the ILO headquarters, regional office in the Arab states, and a number of countries in that region. So it's available in your language. In many countries, the TVET sector is referred to as the Arab Standard Classification of Occupation. So ISCO, the Arab version of it, is the ASCO. And from my knowledge, it's used quite extensively in Jordan, Syria, Palestine, and Egypt, and also now in Tunisia. So it's quite extensively used.
Mr. Gedeon,
yeah, please.
Sorry, may I add a comment, please?
Please.
Yeah, as I know in GCC countries, especially in Arabic Saudi and Emirat, they have a standard classification of occupation.
Right.
It is based on ISCO 08.
Right.
As I know, for example, in Saudi, standard classification is divided into 10 major groups.
Yes.
It is based on ISCO 08, and it includes all jobs and functions related to the Gulf area or Gulf labor market. I don't know if any one of our participants may add some info if he like or if he knows about the standard classification in the Gulf countries.
Yeah. I've given you these links in your notes. So if you look at it, you'll find, and if you click on it, you'll find something directly relevant to you, your countries, and in the Arabic language. Yeah. So thank you, George, for adding to that. So now, Mr. George just now mentioned that there is a certain classification structure for the ISCO. And I'll try and share that with you. Yeah. He said just now, there are 10 levels. Yeah. So ISCO is a hierarchical classification system. That means it starts broad and goes narrow to the particular occupation. And I'll show that to you just now. Yeah. So ISCO is a hierarchical classification starting at broad occupational categories and moving in 4 levels to specific occupations. Yeah. Now, all occupations, medicine, engineering, aeronautical science, whatever it is, all occupations are divided into 10 groups. All right. These are the 10 groups: managers, professionals, technicians, clerical support, service and sales workers, skilled agricultural and forestry workers, so on. There are 10 groups of occupations in the ILO classification. Yeah, right. So professional means all the people who are professional. So lawyer, engineer, medical doctor, nurse, all will come here. Yeah. Technicians would be in the medical profession, X-ray technician, surgical technician, like this. All right. And here's an example of the structure. Right. So now let's take, these are the major groups. I've taken professional, yes, as the example for us. Now, under professional, a subdivision is the health professional. So you can see professional is the mother. Under the mother, the first level, I said there are 4 levels, right? The first level is health. Okay. Then, if you go on, level 3, professional would be health professional. Under health professional, level 3 is medical doctor. So can you see the structure? Out of these 10, professional is what we're looking at. Within professional, we're looking at health. Within health, we're looking at medical doctor. And there's one more level, level 4, which is called the unit level. And here you have professional, health professional, medical doctor, and general medical practitioner. Can you see? This is the hierarchy. You would have another unit, which may be surgical practitioner. You may have another unit, which may be orthopedic specialist. Like this, you will have in the ILO, this down, 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 down classification. Yeah. This is how the ILO works. This is how the ISCO works. And in the same method, what Mr. George pointed out, the same idea is there in the document that has been developed for the Gulf region. Yeah. Now, what I'd like to try and do is to come out and show you, this is a very tiny text, but I'd like to show you, this is the ISCO. This is the ISCO here. Let me come out now and open another screen and hope that that works for me to demonstrate it to you. Share screen. One second. I'm just trying to open it, so please. Where is it? No. Okay. Can you see the George? Can you see this long list?
Not clear. I am seeing it, but not clear.
Not clearly, right? But you can see the list, yeah?
Yeah, but not clear for me.
Okay, yeah. It doesn't matter if it's not clear. Now just see, these are the ILO lists. Okay. So if you click on the first one, you get all the information from the ILO, from the ISCO. Here is the career definition. This is directly from the ISCO website now. Yeah.
Mr. Gideon, Mr. Gideon. Mr. Gideon, do you hear me? Mr. Gideon, do you hear me?
Now you go to accountant chartered and you want to know about that. If you click on that, this is the chartered accountant's definition, tasks, related occupations, and other links, assistant of accounting, bookkeeper, accounts clerk, and so on. Yeah, I'm not intending for you to read this because it's really small, but it's there in your notes. If you click on that link, it will take you to this page, and category by category, unit by unit, you will get information. Yeah. So now let me go back to my PowerPoint and yeah. Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is this link I've given to you is a live link in your notes. You click on it, all these thousands of unit level information, actor, advocate, aerialist, a whole lot of things. Yeah? Every human occupation is there over here. Click on it, you'll get the career name, career tasks, related occupations, and other links. All right. Okay, so let me go forward now. Okay. Now this is if you read the ISCO directly, it's complicated. Yeah, the language is at a economist level of language, and we are not wanting to take this directly to our students. We are wanting to simplify this so that it becomes a student level layperson's language. In order to simplify the process of understanding career information, we have created this 5 career learning questions. Yeah, career name, remember, definition, tasks, potential, and career path. Now, career name, career definition, career tasks, you will get from ISCO. Yeah. Potential is something that your experts need to work out. Career path is something that would be specific to your country. So if it's general medical practitioner, which is the career name from ISCO, what is the pathway for the general medical practitioner in Bahrain or Oman or Qatar is a country-specific information which you need to work out. Yeah. So career information must be drawn from a source that's well-researched and globally relevant. ISCO is such a source. ISCO provides answers to some of the 5 career learning questions in the form of standardized career names. So this, when you say standardized career name, it's the ILO's name for that occupation. It's the ILO's definition for that occupation and the career tasks. Okay? And this is at a global level. So whether it's a lawyer in Bahrain or whether it's a lawyer in India or Bangalore, the tasks are the same. Yeah. So an example from ISCO, if you take the career name is chemist, this is what when I clicked just now and you saw it on the screen, this is what you would see if you went to the ISCO. Career name, here is the career definition. Career name is chemist, and what does the chemist do? Chemists conduct research, improve or develop concepts, theories of blah, blah, blah. This is the ISCO definition of it. Yeah, it's a reliable definition. It would be relevant across multiple countries. And it has been rechecked and re-standardized for the Gulf countries. And here you can see what are the tasks of a chemist: conducting research, developing concepts, conducting experiments, tests, etc., evaluating results, developing and improving pharmaceutical, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is directly copied and pasted from the ISCO for you to see. All right. So this kind of information is provided by ISCO for all human occupations, and therefore it can be adapted. We need to adapt it, simplify it into tools for our working with young people, maybe high school students, maybe college students. They may not understand this heavy language. So our job when we're making a dictionary is to use this concept and simplify it for students. Right? And one such tool is a career dictionary. Okay, and here I'd like to go on and come back to this labor market versus person-centered approaches. Now, as we said, there are national classification systems. Most countries have a classification system, right? Most occupational systems. Now, these classifications that you would have already in your country, keep in mind that it is labor market centered. It is not person centered. What do I mean by this? It's labor market centered and are usually industry or sector specific, sector centric. What do we mean by sector? For example, transport is a sector. Health is a sector. Industry is another sector. Yeah. So these are economics-based classifications. Yeah. Yes,
أستاذ
yes.
جديد، لو سمحت ممكن مداخلة؟
Can I make an intervention, please?
معك عبد العزيز براك، أنا من
I am Abdulaziz Al Barak. I am for vocational training center in Saudi Arabia.
بالنسبة للأستاذ كان يتكلم عن التصنيف.
You were speaking about the professional classification. We have a classification of economic activities, and this is done by AISC4, which is a statistical institution, and it includes all jobs and occupations. It gives descriptions, but not a classification. I just wanted to make sure of what you said. When you speak about classification and description, what is the difference? Is there a description of the occupation or of the career?
I will, Mr. Gedeon, do you get the translation to English?
No, will you do that, please, Judge?
Yeah. The question is there a difference between ISCO or Isaac? Activity, ISCO,
yes.
ISCO related to occupation, and the Isaac, as you know, related to activities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I will answer in Arabic to our participant, and then I will move to English. بس اللي بدي اقول لك اياه بالعربي في عندنا نحن تصنيف النشاطات الدولي، نسميه التصنيف الدولي للنشاطات اللي اسمه هو الايزك. هيدا بيعمل يعني بيحدد نوع النشاط ووصف للنشاط، هيدا بنسميه الايزك. بينما توصيف المهن كايسكو في عندي انا وصف عنوان للعناوين المهن الكبرى، وفي عندي وصف التوصيف للمهام اللي بدي يقوم فيها بهيدي المهنة. نحن بنعرف انه المهنة هي مجموعة مهام، المهنة مجموعة مهام مترابطة، وكل عنوان مهنة ممكن يكون فيها عدة مهن العمل فيهم مترابط، بنسميها وصف المهنة بالتفصيل. اوكي، هون بنسميها توصيف المهنة. فالعناوين الأساسية للمهن اللي هن 10 عناوين كبرى، وبعدين بنرجع بننزل كل عنوان بننزل على يعني العنوان الأساسي، العنوان الأقل تفصيلا، العنوان بالتفصيل، وكل مهنة بنفوت بوصف للمهام. هذا يختلف عن تصنيف النشاط الاقتصادي للمؤسسات. نحن بنعرف المؤسسة عندها نشاط اقتصادي يعني بتقوم فيه، لو خلينا نقول لو قلنا صناعة هذا المواد الكيميائية، هيدا كنشاط اقتصادي. بينما بهيدا النشاط الاقتصادي عندي ممكن يكون 100 وظيفة أو 100 مهنة مرتبطة بالتصنيف الدولي المعياري للمهن. نحن بنعرف إنه بدول الخليج، بالسعودية في تصنيف معياري للمهن، بالإمارات في تصنيف معياري للمهن، وبعمان وبالكويت، وهو كله مرتكز على التصنيف المعياري الدولي اللي بترعاه هو منظمة العمل الدولية تحت مظلة الأمم المتحدة. ما بعرف إذا الإجابة صارت واضحة.
شكرا، واضحة، الله يعطيك العافية.
واضحة. أوكي، كتير منيح. Mr. Gedeon, do you get the translation in English, or you would like to?
Will you translate, George, please?
Yeah. The idea is, for me, I explain to our participants the difference between the ISCO classification and the Isaac classification, the activity classification, and the occupation classification. As you know, there are big difference between two.
Yes.
The first one is about the main activity of the company or of the factory, and which activity he work exactly. But as you know, if in a factory they have, for example, produce chemical products, so it means one activity, but they have hundreds of occupations related to this activity. So
Yes.
the job descriptions As you know, an occupation is a set of functions related together, and every function has some specific tasks to be achieved during the implementation of the work. So when I say occupation, it means some of functions related together to be able to get the final result based on the duties that I have to do inside the factory or inside my jobs.
Yes.
That's the idea between two that I explained to our participants. It has a misunderstanding about the difference between activity and occupation.
Occupation. Yeah, thank you, George, and thank you, Mr. Abdul, for asking the question. Please, anytime, continue the question. Also, like you have the ISCO and like you have the activity class, there are many other classifications. There is the international educational classification. Yeah, right. So we are trying to focus our attention on creating a dictionary for children. Therefore, we want these broad occupational classifications. Right. Now, here I'm trying to also, this is very much closely related to what Mr. George mentioned just now. Now, you can have a list which is labor market oriented, yeah, or sector oriented. So it could be industry sector, it could be the transport sector, it could be the health sector, and so on. Now, that is not so helpful for us from career guidance viewpoint. Yeah, a sector-based classification is not useful for career guidance because, as George mentioned just now, a wide range of jobs requiring different aptitudes and skills exist within a sector. So if you take transport as a sector, transport is the sector. Now, within transport, you have a marketing executive and you have a logistics manager who require different talents and abilities. Marketing executive may require personal skills, linguistic skills. Logistics manager may require more physical skills and more analytical skills. Yeah. So this is the sector-based. Commonly, what I find in most countries, which the country has already developed, is a sector-based classification. Now, this helps the economists of that country. It will help the economists to say, how is the transport sector performing? Are there jobs in the transport sector? So it's helpful for the economics. We are looking at something different. We are looking at preparing a young person. We are not preparing a person for a sector. We are not preparing a young person for transport sector. We are preparing the young person for as wide range of sectors as possible. So if it is management, for example, the student is specializing in management, he or she would be able to work in transport, health, industry, the whole range. Yeah, that is career guidance. Therefore, career information database must be based on a theoretically grounded, person-centered classification system. And that's where you have the Holland model or the intelligences model, which I have explained to you earlier. Right? Okay, so a career dictionary is theoretically based on the attributes of the person. A sector classification is based upon the economics of a country. A career dictionary is based upon the attributes of the person. What are the talents and the aptitudes the person has? Yeah. So with Holland, it would be, here is, so you have the Holland theory. You remember the RIASEC model. This is the Holland dictionary. See? All right. So if you follow the Holland model, you would need to have this dictionary with you. So you have here the Holland codes and the names. And if you go and click on music therapist, for example, it will give you the career definition, job tasks, etc. of music therapist according to Holland. Right? So this is an example of a dictionary developed on the Holland model. Right? So if you here, I mean, I just showed this to you. There are these are the career names, and if you click on that, or if you go to that page, here is the page number, you would get all the details. Yeah, and you can see it's a really fat book. Here you have aircraft body repairer. This is the Holland code. That means to be an aircraft body repairer, you should be realistic, investigative, and entrepreneurial. More information is available in this page. Yes. So this is if you take the Holland approach, the Holland methodology, Holland is not the place, remember, it's the person, it's a method, then this is the classification. Yeah. Now, we are taking the intelligences approach because, as I explained to you last time, this Holland approach, this approach comes to us from the American system. Yeah. And when this approach, for example, when this approach was tried out in India as a research, this dictionary was not a very well accepted by Indians because it has a whole many occupations there which have a cultural coloring. You know, in India, the caste system is very strong. So people were rejecting the many occupations that are there in this list. No, this is not for me. This is not for me. This is not for me. So there are these cultural things. Yeah. Whereas when you take the intelligences approach, the 5 intelligences which I've described to you earlier on, then it's at least more culturally neutral. So given the limitations of the Holland method discussed in an earlier module, the module we are following is based on the intelligences approach. Yeah. So here is a dictionary, smaller one, which we have developed based on the intelligences approach. This is the Indian one. Similarly, I've developed for Pakistan, for Bangladesh and many other countries. We can work on some. For Tunisia, we've developed something. We can develop something for you as well. So here, if you open this, you can see that this is the linguistic area, and here are all the linguistic career names. These career names are from ISCO. Okay. So if you take the linguistic potential, here is company secretary, for example. Here is the definition of company secretary. This definition is taken from ISCO and simplified for the normal common person. Yeah, company secretary blends commerce with law, etc., etc. So it's a very simple language. Yeah. So using the ISCO and the multiple potentials framework. So if you're wanting to develop something like this for your country, a dictionary for your country, here are the steps. Let me try and explain them to you. You could take, first of all, your primary resource. It could be the Arab Standard Classification, the document that Mr. George mentioned just now, the one specially developed for the Gulf countries. So that's your starting point. You need that document, right? Then you need a theory of classification. Are you going to use the Holland method, the intelligences method, which method? Yeah, you need those two. Right? Then you need a group of experts. Remember, we spoke about having experts who know about the labor market, who know about the economics of a country. Yeah, so if you're going to go forward from here, these are 3 things that you need. Who are these experts? They are knowledgeable about the principles of guidance. Yeah, they're knowledgeable about classification theory, like the multiple potentials or the Holland method, as well as occupations from the perspective of that country. Yeah, so we need to make a group. I call it a career guidance working group. So this group are people who are who know career guidance, who know economics, and who know classification. Yeah. So now, here is a this is just an example. Okay, how do you make a career dictionary? Just a very rough example. Imagine this is the unit level 4 names of occupations from ISCO. So this working group has started working. They opened the source document, the Gulf document or the Arab version or the ISCO, and they start. Okay, that is the expert group. The education is career counseling, information specialist, yeah. And they have country-specific criteria which they have developed, and then they are looking for occupations that fit that country-specific criteria. So let's say we have this list, yeah, from the ISCO. This is just 1 page. Yeah. Now, yeah. So now when they go through the list, they may say accountant auditing not relevant to our country. They may say chartered accountant, yes. Company accountant, this is an ISCO name, not relevant to our country. Cost accountant, yes, it's relevant to our country. Municipal accountant, not relevant. Public accountant, yes. Oil and so they using their knowledge, using their expertise, they will select and reject occupations from this big ILO list. ILO list is every occupation, as I told you. If you look at it, there are occupations like boatman, many, which are not relevant maybe to your country. So the first job of the working group is to go through the source document and make a country-specific occupational list. Yeah. So what have we left over from here? From here, we have left over chartered accountant, cost accountant, and public accountant. And we also have building architect from this example. Right. Now what happens? This group have a career name. These are the career names. They will then take the ILO definition and simplify it for the careers that they have selected. They will take the ILO tasks and simplify it so that the student understands. The career counseling specialists in your group will tell you for chartered accountant, which is the main potential that you need based on their expertise. The educational people in the group will tell us what is the educational pathway for these careers. The economists will tell us these are the occupations as a chartered accountant. The demand is in the health sector. You need a lot of accountants maybe in your country. Yeah. So what are the occupations? What is the scope? This information is that's what you find in those cards which I showed you yesterday. Yeah. Right. Next step that we have is we've got all these names. Now we need to put them into families. So your experts will say that this group belongs to the analytical logical family. So if you take the career dictionary and you look at the analytical logical, here you would have chartered accountant, yeah, and cost accountant and public accountant and so on. Whereas for building architect, you need to have the design skills. So this is the spatial category. So this is the classification that I was speaking about earlier. It's a long work. Yeah, it takes 3 months or so of this group working very systematically. So if you're committing to a career guidance program, we need to say, if it's a dictionary that we want to develop, it's a long, very tedious kind of. But once you've done it, then it's an extremely valuable resource that you can keep for a long time for your country. Right? And that is your career dictionary. All right. Now, this is just an example. I'm talking to you about it. If we're going to work at it, then there are specific trainings and skills that this group needs to develop. Yeah. So once all the classifications have been completed, the actual dictionary can be, now you can compile, you've made this information now, you can compile it in different ways. You can compile it as a book like this, or like this big fat book like this, as a book. Yeah. Now that may be expensive. If one unit of information changes, the whole book has to be reprinted. So I find cards to be much more effective. So supposing information about a mechanical engineer has changed in your country, only that card has to be changed. That's another way of doing it. Folders or as a searchable software application. Today, this is where lots of resources are going. So in Bangladesh, for example, I've just finished giving them the whole logic and the flow chart for developing a software for career information classification. Yeah. Here are examples. This is the Indian one I showed you, and here are children using it, yeah, in the workshop. In Vietnam, it was a folder like this. So each sheet is one career, and you can change it. You can use it in the classroom. Yeah. This is something we did in the Maldives. This is a bag. The cards here, you can see in Maldives 10 years ago, it was just these 12 or 15 careers that they had. This is the card idea, and here are again children using it. These are just some ideas. Yeah. If you'd like to look at a software that we have developed, you can go to this link. It's there in your notes. If you click on this link, you'll see the My Organization's classification system. Okay. Right. So with that, we've come to the end of this idea of occupational classification. If there are points that you'd like to discuss further, please bring it up now. If Mr. George can add something about ISCO or other classifications, that now is the time.
No, from my side, I just want to add if any participant want to ask. One of the participants sent to the chat box the link, I think about the, I don't open it yet. So we are saying, so the jobs classification based on ISCO, when we said ISCO, okay, ISCO classification, it means the international classification. I don't know, in Gulf area, you have a different classification, but altogether related and based on the international classification. So the idea for us today is to know the difference between the international standard of occupation, okay, and what are the relations to career guidance. The idea is if we want to schedule or define a guidance to anyone, so we have to understand the occupation or the function and explain to him what is the function, what are the tasks of this function. Are you able to complete the task required in this function? What are your capabilities? What are your skills? Okay, to be able to finish the duties later in your company, in the domain that you will work later. So first one, if we want to understand very good the career guidance, so we have to understand the jobs classification, the skills classification, as we said before, and in Europe now they are interested in skills side by side to jobs classifications and occupation. You know, so sometimes many companies, they are not interested very well in qualifications or certificate. They are interested only in skills that you have, maybe the skills related to practice, related to during your job, okay, inside a company, okay. So the career kind that Mr. Gideon explained to us today is related to function, to occupation, to skills, okay. The career guides and the main topic, okay, or the main objective that you will let us arrive to a final destination, to the future of our target. If you start your life with good career guidance, so you have right selection, right decision, okay, right orientation, so right selection of a function, or not function of a career, okay. As Mr. Gideon said, a career is different than a function. A career is a career for your life. Okay, maybe a function, maybe you work in a temporary function, but it is not a career for you for the future. Okay, career for the future, for a decent work, for a respectable life, for right income. It means right career guidance. It means good career guidance for you. That's I want to add, Mr. Gedeon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, George. So my aim today was to give some time at the end for us to see if we can talk about this a little more, and if you are, I mean, if you want to develop a system like this for your country, one we spoke about right at the beginning was a system for assessing the student. Yeah, and we saw that there are aptitude tests and so on, and I've given you an example of a method which doesn't require high-level aptitude test. That is the strengths and accomplishments question. That's one side of it. Now, when we come into the world of work, a common issue that I find when we work in a country is that the list is doesn't match the assessment system. Yeah. So if you're using the 5 categories of assessment, then on this side we need to have 5 categories of occupations, and that's where the matching can possibly happen. Yeah? And the last point is that when we are making such a list, we need a very reliable source. Yeah, because that definition, those tasks and those functions, we can make a mistake. We can define it in a way where it's not actually accurate, which is why I find it very safe and very convenient to turn to an international classification system. Yeah. So as usual, I've set some assignments for you, some self-learning exercises. So when you are when we finish today, please take time to do the assignments, and tomorrow when we meet, we can discuss the answers to it. Are there any other points or questions? We have time today. George, you're muted, I think.
Sorry. Please, if someone want to explain to us if he has any idea about the standard occupation in his country, okay, about inside Emirat, Oman, Arabia Saudi, we are ready to know. Mrs. Najla sent to us in the chat the link that we may open the standard classification for occupation in the Arabic Saudi. It's in Arabic, as I see in the first view. It is very good classification. It is based on ISCO, and it covers the Saudi labor markets. As you know, sometimes a function exists in a country, not exist in another country, or exist in with different criteria or different tasks. So sometimes if you read the standard classification between countries, you find some occupation find here or in another with predefined tasks here with another task in another occupation. So every country has specific rules and conditions, and that appears in the classification of occupation. I think today, if no one want to ask, I want to add something for tomorrow. We will create a Padlet. Okay, we will add 2 or 3 questions for discussion with you on Thursday in the closing session. The idea from this Padlet is to define, ideas for cooperation between GCC countries, based on the peer learning, based on the exchange of experience between countries, based on South-South triangular cooperation. Okay, the idea is to define an action plan or cooperations later on in case you want to share or exchange the experience in career guidance, okay, based on your experience. So by tomorrow, we'll send to you the link, and you may add any comments, any idea in English or in Arabic, okay? So we may discuss them with Mr. Gideon Thursday in the closing webinar, not tomorrow, on Thursday, with another colleague from Geneva to be able to define the further cooperation between GCC countries and between ILO, okay, based on the concept of peer learning between us, okay? So please feel free later on tomorrow to add any comment about that. And on the forum too, if you want to ask any question, any subject, you may send us right on the in the forum or write to us by email, and we are ready to answer any idea or any subject. Maybe you still have confused about it or about any idea, and we are ready to. Mr. Gideon and all the teams are ready to answer okay your questions. No, if anyone want to ask or add something. No. So today we almost finished. Okay. Hopefully to see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Torino time. Okay, afternoon. Okay. We hope to be together tomorrow. We welcome with us Mr. Duncan Chando, our expert from ITC ILO2 and South-South Triangular Cooperations. We welcome all. Okay, we thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Gideon, for your time, for your valuable information with us today. Really, we learned a lot from you. Okay, I hope the participant will be more and more active tomorrow. Okay, thank you for all, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.